112,000 today.
Don't want to die. Death is a constant reminder here.
The more people we kill, we advance.
You ain't supposed to be alive.
Stealing, shooting people, doing whatever I had to do.
We had to make a living.
I want him dead. I want his family dead.
I know how to grind. I started from the bottom.
Never rat on your friends.
Race to rackets.
It's rough on a black man.
Hold up, we're gonna blow this whole...
Washington, D.C. in the late 80s, a man invited another man to a fist fight. The other man looked at him and laughed as he pulled his gun out and gunned him down right on the spot. Fighting was long played out in the city. D.C., stand up. I know it's been a minute, and if I was going to come back, I wanted to come back with a bang. There was a time that D.C. was the murder capital. We can't speak on a murder capital without talking about Sean Branch. They call him the Teflon Sean for a reason. He was beating those murders like it was nothing. Jumped off the porch at 11 years old. He once saw a friend pull out a bankroll and it was over. He needed parts. He was around the Brooklyn area in D.C. Montana Terrace was an area where all the money was at and a place where his mother told him to stay away from. Of course he didn't listen. His friends showed him the ropes. He got deep in the streets, knowing all the hustlers, the fiends, stick-up kids. He was ready. Now, someone had to learn the hard way as the 17-year-old Branch was showing love to the kids in the community, buying them ice cream. That someone spotted the knot in his hand. He hated to spoil the moment, but he needed that. He tried to snatch the money out of Sean's hand, but couldn't get past the tight grip. Sean pulled out his gun and lit his ass up. Now, someone would end up telling on him, and he would get arrested, taken to trial with a public defender, and he would beat the case. During the late 80s, more New Yorkers were coming to D.C. to hustle. He noticed that someone from New York can give him more than he was already getting, and it gave him an opportunity to make some more money. Now, some dudes from D.C. were looking to kill guys from New York and take what they had and sell it. But that wasn't a smart business move because once the brick was gone, then what? But you had legends like Al Pone with Demencio coming down there. He actually saved Demencio from getting robbed and gave him the nickname Montana. At 17 years old, he began making some good money. He was able to keep himself in the latest designer clothes and able to ride around in some of the flyest whips. September 30, 1988, 2 months before his 18th birthday, he was arrested and charged with second-degree murder while armed. The victim was stabbed to death for involving himself in someone else's business. A witness came forward and pointed the finger at Branch. Now, Branch ended up beating a murder case. Now, he caught another case in July 1990 involving a shooting in the 3100 block of Rhode Island Avenue Northeast. The victim told the police that he recognized Branch as one of the gunmen that shot him in the ass. Days later, the witness refused to testify, and Branch ended up getting off once again. After that, 2 more gun charges followed, one in Washington, which ended in a mistrial and dismissal. Now, the other one was found in Maryland. He was found guilty. The gun was found in a glove compartment, and his fingerprints wasn't on the gun, so that convinced the jury to let him go. Now, in February of 1991, he was charged with carrying a submachine gun, but he was acquitted due to the lack of evidence. July of 1991, a victim was gunned down near an outdoor basketball court on 14th Street in the Northeast area in an alleged contract killing over a cocaine debt. He would later be acquitted once again. Now, the media gave him the nickname the Teflon Sean due to the charges not sticking. Law enforcement started to get a hard-on for him and did whatever it took to get him behind bars. And he was young, wild, and he loved putting on that bulletproof vest to head outside to smell that gun smoke. September of 1991, Branch, along with a friend, went to another neighborhood to pick up some money. The friend would end up going back and forth with another guy in the neighborhood, and he would end up giving him a headshot. Both men were charged for murder, and both men were taken to trial. Now, while he was fighting that murder, another murder case was put on him involving a drive-by shooting on December of 1991 in the area that was known for drug-related violence. Branch beat the case when the victim decided not to testify. So by this time, he became feared, and the city knew what he was all about, and they started to interfere with his money. People were scared to cop bricks off him, so he had to use his friend to sell for him, and he was protected at all costs. July 22nd, 1992, a victim was being chased by a gray Chevy holding 4 men, with one of them allegedly being Sean Branch. Branch and one of the others exited the vehicle, shooting the victim 10 times. Now, 3 of the 4 men were arrested within weeks on first-degree murder charges and ordered jail without bond. The case against Branch would be later dropped after a witness is murdered and others refused to testify. August 6, 1992, a victim escaped an ambush and identified Sean Branch as one of the gunmen. Jury later acquits Branch of assault with intent to kill. Now, during that September of 1991 murder, where Branch and his friend went to a neighborhood and then someone ended up being shot in the head. So during that murder case, a witness would come out and say Branch was one of the guys that he saw do it. Now, that witness wanted to get off on another case and would take the stand and lie. That would cause 23-year-old Sean Branch to get 25 years, even though his friend stepped up and wrote a letter saying that it was his body. It didn't really matter. They finally had who they wanted. Yeah, so no matter how many times you get away with something, your luck can run out at any time. But you know, he did his time like a man. He did the whole 26 like a man. He stood tall, then he came home and handling business. You know, he got a couple of interviews out on YouTube y'all can go check out. Plus, he got a book called Money, Murder, Mayhem. Y'all can go cop on Amazon. I'm going to link it in the description. Shout out to all the viewers. Make sure y'all turn y'all notifications on so y'all don't miss out on any other content. If you like the content, give it a thumbs up. Hit the comments. I appreciate y'all. Y'all be safe out there.
But tonight, Sean Branch is headed to prison. Jen Fox has more on the 3-year-old charges that finally stuck to a man dubbed the Teflon Killer.
Teflon Sean, they nicknamed the diminutive Sean Branch, until the day the 23-year-old Northeast man beat 8 out of 10 charges against him. Today, he got 26 years for the murder of Michael Green.
Never to see him in the street again would have...
Prosecutor Karen Rue called Branch a killer who belongs with other killers, not on the streets to kill again. She asked for the maximum.